so we can be free. All the things you said, all the things you said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things you said, all the things you said.
Hi guys, welcome to Planet Fitness. Once again, I'm Aubrey and I'm so excited about this video today because we're going to be talking about macronutrients. I've gotten a lot of questions since my last video of my 50+ pound weight loss journey. So if you haven't seen that video yet, you might want to go check it out. I'll put a description and a link for that in the description box below. But today we're going to be talking about how to calculate your own macronutrients for your body and your specific goals. But before I get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and click that button down below because you won't want to miss all the awesome ideas that I have for this channel and all the goodies that are coming your way. I kind of wanted to help simplify this whole process down. It's going to take a lot of math, so what I did for you guys is I created this little worksheet that takes you step by step along with this video. It partners right along with it. So there's a link in the description box below where you can go download this and print it out for yourself and follow it around. It is the macro worksheet by Planet Fitness, and what you'll need is also a pen or a pencil and a calculator or a phone. So before I get started, I kind of wanted to define what macronutrients are. So macronutrients are the largest, aka macronutrients, that your body needs to survive, and those three are proteins, fats, and carbs. So for example, if I'm counting my macros for the day and I have a sweet tooth and I want to fit in Rice Krispie treats into my diet, I would go ahead and look at the nutrition label, and instead of just looking at the calories, I'm actually going to look at how many grams of fat, protein, and carbs it has. So one mini Rice Krispie treat has a total of 2 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbs, and less than 1 gram of protein. So I would basically scan this little barcode on MyFitnessPal, great resource if you're looking to count macros, and make sure that these numbers fit within the remaining allotted macros that I have for each specific macronutrient. So the first step in calculating your macros is calculating your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. Now your basic metabolic rate is basically how many calories your body burns when it's sitting down doing nothing all day. It's how much your body needs to survive, to sustain itself and run its natural process, all the organ systems, just sitting down, no activity at all. So there are a lot of different ways that people use to calculate BMR, and I'm not going to go into all that. I'm just going to try to make this as easy as possible. So I've provided you a link in the description box below to bodybuilding.com's BMR Calculator, and I chose bodybuilding.com for all of you scholarly people who are like, is that a credible source? Because bodybuilding.com is one of the largest trafficked fitness websites on the internet, and it has so many fitness gurus coming and trafficking in and out of that site and writing articles for that site that it's highly peer reviewed, and if there was a problem with it and people didn't agree, everyone would know about it because of all the internet trolls out there. So bodybuilding.com, the BMR basal metabolic calculator, is linked in the description box below. So go ahead and pause this video, enter your numbers for your body, and write that in the first blank of your worksheet. So once you have your BMR calculated and written down in your worksheet, next you want to identify what are your goals, and that's going to help you determine your macro ratio percentages. So if you're not really sure about your goals and your primary function is you want to lose weight, then one of the most highly used base starting point macro percentages is 40, 40, 20. 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fat. That is one of the most widely used starting macro percentages that you can use. So if you want to start off with that, you can. When you're determining your macro ratio percents, you need to make sure that all your percents add up to 100. So you should not have 50% carbs, 50% fats, and 20% protein, because that would be 120%. You want to make sure that all your percents for protein, fats, and carbs when added together equal 100%. Personally, my macro percentages is 35% protein, 40% carbs, and 25% fat, because after I've used that based 40, 40, 20, I started learning more about my body. I realized that I was kind of lethargic, so I upped my fats and just things like that. So you want to start at 40, 40, 20 if you don't really know where to start. And once you have been on that diet, use those numbers for a couple weeks. You can start identifying, oh, are my muscles fatigued? Do I need more protein? Am I actually just really lethargic and tired? Do I need more carbs or fat? And adjust those numbers accordingly. So once again, 40, 40, 20, 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat, or if you'd like to start off with mine, 35% protein, 40% carbs, 25% fat. So once you have figured out your macro ratio percents, we're actually going to convert that percent into decimal form. So if you don't know how to do that, what you would do would put your full number percent into a calculator and then divide by 100. So if I'm trying to convert 40%, I would take 40 divided by 100 to get me 0.4. However, if you can do that in your head, you can go ahead and skip this step. I automatically know on the top of my head that 30% is 0.3, 25% is 0.25, and so on. But if you can't do that in your head just yet, then go ahead and use that calculator and divide each percent by 100 and write that decimal in the provided blanks on your macro worksheet. This next step is to determine how many calories of protein, carbs, and fat you need out of your basal metabolic rate calories. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply your BMR calories by the decimals that we've just created. So if you have a basal metabolic rate by 1700 and you're trying to get 40% protein, you will multiply 1700 times 0.4 and write that down in the blanks provided. For each step, you're going to start with your BMR total calories multiplied by your percent decimals that you've just created in step 3, and then write those numbers below. What you're doing is you're figuring out those ratios in calorie form. So how many calories of protein are allotted in my BMR? How many calories of fats are allotted in my BMR, and so on. So that's what this step is for. We're determining how many calories of each macro do I need to get my full BMR calorie intake. Now that you've calculated your specific macro calorie ratios, we're going to convert those to grams because your macros are identified by grams on nutrition labels, and MyFitnessPal also calculates your macros in grams. So having a number of macros, proteins, carbs in grams is going to be the easiest way for you to keep track of them. So this information is provided for you on the macro worksheet. However, for every 1 gram of protein, there are 4 calories that equal to it. So 4 calories equal 1 gram of protein. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your protein calories ratio number that you have figured out and divide it by 4 to get how many grams of protein you need. Carbs are the same way. For every 4 calories is 1 gram of carbohydrates. So you will take your ratio calories for only carbs and divide that by 4 to calculate your carbohydrates in grams. Fats are a little bit different because fats actually have 9 calories per 1 gram of fat. So you're going to take your allotted fat calories that you have calculated for your ratios and divide that by 9 to identify your fats in gram form. So those were all the steps and calculate your macronutrients for your specific body and goals, and your finished product in gram form are going to be right here in your macro worksheet. So these 3 little blanks right here are your protein, fats, and carbohydrates macros in grams and will be your goal for when you start counting macros. I'm going to conclude this video by telling you that macronutrients really help in body composition. So different ratios are going to be good for building muscle, leaning out, in the different types of body styles that you have. So it's really important to understand your body and to take notes as you're beginning this macro counting journey. Keep a food journal, keep a log on how you feel so that you can better adjust and tweak those numbers later on down the road. I also wanted to finish this video by saying that I am by no means an expert or nutritionist or a dietitian. This is just the way that I have found to be effective in my own journey, my own research, and my own weight loss process. So, if you want to use that worksheet, awesome. I'm so excited for you. But also I wanted to say that if macronutrients are really confusing and your like 3 numbers to keep track of is very difficult for me, start off with your calorie intake and use MyFitnessPal. It is one of the best resources out there because, guys, you can scan the barcode of anything that you eat. It has such a huge database of foods that I have yet to find a food that is not already inputted into MyFitnessPal. So great resource for to use. But if those 3 numbers are difficult for you to keep track of, just start by counting calories. Once again, I want to emphasize that your BMR, your base metabolic rate, is what your body needs to survive doing nothing. So if you're active at all during the day, you're going to create a calorie deficit, and that calorie deficit will help you to lose weight. This is just a starting point for you. It's not an end-all, be-all. It's going to take some trial and error and some tweaking for your body, but after everything is said and done, you know your body the best, you know the way you feel, and only you can adjust these macros to fit you personally, to fit your lifestyle, and to fit your needs. But what's awesome about counting macronutrients is the flexibility that it gives you. You can have a Rice Krispie treat like I showed in the very beginning of this video as long as it fits into your macros. If you're craving chocolate, have that chocolate. Guys, I eat chocolate every single day and I average a 1 to 2 pound loss a week, which is amazing. And I struggled for so long at binging because I would eat so clean during the week and binge super hard on the weekends. But making sure that you're fitting those cravings, you're fitting those little cheats into your macros, controlling that cheat will help prevent you from binging on the weekend. It will help stop you from having those cravings that are so difficult to outlast. You can have whatever you want so long as it fits your macronutrients or your caloric intake. So guys, this is seriously a life-changing thing for me. It really helped stop me from yo-yoing and binging, and it's been one of the key components to my weight loss journey. I've lost over 50 pounds. This week, 54 pounds. I'm up to a 54-pound loss, and it has been unbelievable what counting macros have done to my body. I see solid muscle gains, and I see my fat content, my fat composition going down. So counting macros is such a great way to kickstart any journey. And if you're not ready to exercise yet, that's why we started with your BMR, because that's what your body needs standing still. Some of us work, some of us chase kids around, some of us can go on a small walk. Whatever your body does in addition to running itself will automatically create a calorie deficit, and you'll see some type of fat loss. So I'm so glad that you could find this video. Once again, if you want to use the worksheet that ties along with it, there's a link in the description box below, and it ties right alongside of this. I'm so glad that you came to see me, and until next time, see ya.
All the things you said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head.